will be also for the future, and that people will manage to see some of this presentation again and again on YouTube and number of times, and we will eventually go viral, because this is such an important topic and maybe not so developed still. So let me share my screen now, and I can introduce our program. Okay, so for who's here, and I hope you can see. Okay, for who's here and perhaps joined a little bit later, or is not one of the original farmers that were involved in the program, or one of the original mentors that started the program. This is a program funded by EIT Food, and it's really focused on developing a digital plan for the future in the farming environment, and how precision agriculture can help finally bring more value to the crops, and it is organized in such a way that is not specific to a particular crop, but is really showing you some of the best in class and best practices in this environment, and gives you examples of successes so that you can somewhat find ways to get inspired and perhaps start using some of these techniques yourself. So today it's all about hearing from the mentors of the program. This program is called Smart Short Digital Supply Chains. And what we will do is, first of all, hear from Andrea Cruciani, the co-founder and CEO of Agricolas. And then later, very short, and I urge my mentors to be a little bit short in the presentation, from Aarhus University, from Campton BRI in Hungary, from Grupo ANE in Spain, from FarmBee Digital in Greece, so let's get moving. Let's get started, because it's not about me, but it's about our mentors. And I will pass. No, maybe a few words first before I forget of how important is the EIT Food community.
It looked like Milena lost connection. I hope I have connection with the rest of you. And then I think
the EIT Food community is a group of partners as EIT Food. And we work in 4 different areas, which are innovation, education, entrepreneurship, and public engagement. And actually what we mean by education is entrepreneurship education. And some of the programs like the one that we have today, where we are really trying to develop a better and more technically skilled a group of people in our communities. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing. And now, Andrea, you can get started if you wish. It's my pleasure to introduce Andrea Cruciani. And as I said, he's the CEO of Agricolas. And where are you, Andrea? Sorry, my screens are not...
I'm here. Can you see me?
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. And Andrea and I have met a million times online and still never in person. So one of the days, I actually hope I will see you in person. So go ahead.
Really. I hope that it will be soon. Thank you for inviting me. And it's a pleasure for me and an honor to be here to open this session. And I decided after thinking a bit not to use this time slides, because this is more an understanding. I have some slides for everything, you know, how it is. But this time I want to discuss with you on the vision of the future of technical and digital tools for the agri-food sector. I start saying that most of the time, the people says that they use digital tools, and they say that are using digital tools because they recognize that it's a need. You cannot be digital in this world. But most of the time in the agri-food sector, it's more digital washing. They want to use something, but still they are not prepared to use this. So they take something somewhere and start doing something that is not completely a process that they are acting toward the value chain, toward the special sector. This is due to the fact that agriculture is the last, the American people say, the last $1 billion industry that need to be digitalized. And most of the time, we face with one of the oldest industry that we have in our world, because the agri-food sector is something that is together with us since the beginning. And now we are in, I call it the far west of the digital technologies for agri-food. From one side, we have some very advanced technologies, okay, that can be used. You can use robotic, you can use satellite, you can use sensors, you can use also human devices. So something that is very near to our daily life. It can be a ring with sensors that you can pass through the vineyards or something. But the real thing is that together with the digital transformation, you need to have a transformation of the mindset of the sector. And this is what we are facing now. And the projects like this one are very useful and I would say crucial to this transformation, because this pass not through the availability of technologies, but this pass through the knowledge sharing about this transformation. And we need to do this because what is coming is even worse. A lot of technologies are arriving, very advanced technologies, and then now we can start thinking to have an artificial intelligence that is supporting our process. But if no one will rely on these technologies, it will be not useful to the end user. You know the Tesla cars, no? And if you have a Tesla car that can drive by themselves, okay, by itself, it's a very advanced technology. But if you don't trust, you will continue to drive. And you have a self-driving car, but you will not use it. In the technology sector, we face this approach many, many times. And in agriculture, we have the same. They watch at the precision farming technologies to satellite things to the value chain data, and they say, oh, interesting. And they continue to do most of the time what they were doing before, because they, at the end, don't trust technology. So this brings us to two important factors. One, I told you just before, is the fact that we need to acquire knowledge about the usage of these new technologies to understand why these technologies are important for each part of the value chain or whatever. Okay, and this is very important. The second, we need validation. Someone needs to say in a scientific way that this thing is important because we have proven that it brings an advantage with a research institute or with an SME or whatever that can certify that you can reach this advantage with this technology. Most of the time now, we have a lot of sellers of technology, vendor, that say, you have to use this because it's the most advanced thing and blah, 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 and so on. Maybe you were thinking that I was doing a different speech, but I do this because it's the real nature of our effort day by day. So just to say this. But when you have a technology and you say, this is important because you can do this and that, blah, 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 the end user only listen to blah, blah, blah. They don't care about the blah, blah, blah. They care about 2 words. They have done this and it works. 2 words. It works. So someone has to certify that it works. And the other part is you can do this in this way, and you have to explain how you do this thanks to the technology. So during these years, we started to do some research in agriculture in the 2010, 2011. We started the startup Agriculus in 2017. We did a lot of errors, and we understood what I'm saying to you with a lot of effort in doing more and more errors all the time. The first errors were to create a very fancy interfaces for sensors, for a lot of things that were very fancy for software developers, but they were completely not. They were completely useless for the end users or for the farmers, because for them they were very complicated and not saying what they were needing. Another part of the errors was we were providing feedback from satellite and other things, considering that all the people were able to understand the output and the meaning of this output for the field or the value chain or whatever. And it was not, because we have a gap in the education. The technology is faster, even if the technology is teaching. There are some professors in the university, in the high school that are teaching this. But the problem is that the technology is so fast that the gap in the time that you arrive in the market, new things are coming, and you cannot be updated all the time. So what can we do? Because otherwise it's only a mess. One thing is to provide something that is easily understandable by the end user. In Agriculus, we are changing our approach. We started providing a lot of feedback from technology. But when a farmer goes to the field, he doesn't look to the sensor. He doesn't look to the satellite. He looks to the field. So you have to talk the language of the field. So you have to say, your field is in healthy state, or this part, it may be that it happens something. Doing this with technology is very complicated. Why? Because to say something like this is like to processing the thinking of a human person that put together all the inputs, so the sensor, the soil analysis, the satellite or whatever, and make a final assumption of what's happening. It's all okay or not or whatever. So this means that from one side, our side, that we are the developer of the new technologies, we need to do something that is very similar to what you can do with another human person, to discuss about the matter, not just giving percentage or colors or whatever. You have to say, the field is okay. To say this with technology is very difficult, because you have to understand what is happening with all these technologies. You have to compare all the technologies' feedbacks, and then you have to provide a feedback that is something that is not so easy. So this is the reason. From one side, the very advanced technologies are advanced in providing specific feedback, technical feedback, but are not so far, are very far from the human understanding. So at the end of the day, we need, I provide you an example. When you had the first mobile phone, no, it was very difficult for the person to understand how to use them. Now, my kid, starting from 3 years old, is used to talk with Alexa or with Google Home and ask things that were very tricky for my father, my mother, with the first technologies, and they receive a natural feedback. We need to provide also in technology, advanced technology, in the value chain, in the field, a natural feedback, something that can provide you the feedback that a human can provide you, but thanks to the deep understanding that you can have with technology. On the other side, we need to train people to go beyond what they were doing last day. They need to understand that they can change the approach on what they are doing. Because now, for example, we cannot manage to do the same thing that we were doing 20 years ago. Because now in March is not the period that you do this practice in the field, because it may happen between February to May due to the climate change. And you cannot decide this only with your gut. You need objective data that can tell you now is the time to do this operation, because you were used to do this in March, but now you have to do, for this year you have to do in February, for this year you have to do in April, and so on. So changing this requires a big leap of faith. And to do the leap of faith, you need these two things: the knowledge of what is behind and the validation of the technologies. What I see is that we will have expert systems in the future that will be accompanied, will be together with these two concepts: the knowledge of what is behind, not to be a scientist, but to understand, to be confident with the technology and the capability of technology of providing information in more natural language. This is my idea for today. I hope that it's useful for you.
Thank you, Andrea. And I think that this is exactly what we also learned during our mentoring, that it was great to go with a lot of technologies, but the farmers wanted really simple language and also wanted to really understand what was in it for them. So that's a very, very important study. There is a question for you from Remigio. Remigio, would you like to ask the question?
No, the question is, no, I was thinking, making the technology so intelligent that actually tell you the state of the fields, could be actually maybe made by technician that could serve, between the technology and the farmer, no? Because make a technology the way you mentioned, you have to put in place the knowledge of an agronomist inside your system, no? Which on some side will put apart, the agronomist. So you no longer need agronomist to some extent. So I think, it will be easy to train or to, as you mentioned, test and verify and validate, and people learn, that something technician, for some technician will be an opportunity of work, because making what you mentioned, I think it's very difficult. It's not only difficult, it's also that because the market, you are not going to talk about million of users, no? So we have some thousand of users, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 in Europe, I don't know, maybe 100,000, maybe a million, but still it's not billion. So what you mentioned is going to be very complicated to be made by analyzing the data. Of course, some processing of the data, if there is validation that say this map, the way you distribute fertilizer here was successful, because the year after you get this, something that maybe can be elaborated on the history. So the system have an history. So this can be elaborated, but telling you if the field is in the in the right condition, I think is going to be, it's going to be difficult and maybe not so safe, no? In a sense that if somebody, if later, you tell the field is in good condition and for some reason the field is not, you end up in a problem, with farmers or with the users. So.
Yeah, there are more questions, but I will try to answer to at least some. The first one is it's a solution trade technician in the middle between farmers and technology, I read. Yes, this is what we are doing as a shortcut, because this is the shortest way to allow the adoption of the technologies. And this is something that will continue. This is important because in this moment, the technicians are the translator, the end user. The second question is, if you do this, will be useful to have this kind of technicians? I say yes, but they will change the role because it's like when you were used to do the calculation without the calculator. I say people were using a lot of effort doing something that was not so critical. We need person that can do a value-added process. And sorry.
You're muted.
Sorry, I was sneezing. And the problem is that when you, I received these feedbacks so many times. One time I was discussing with an agronomic expert, an old one, and he was saying, this is not useful, you cannot use this. And I discussed with him with several hours, and at the end he said, like, it was like sad saying this, but if it works, what will be of me? What is my meaning if this really works? This is something that cannot be a fear. It will work. We cannot face a world without technology. Now we know that it will happen. The fact is to generate added value on top of technologies, because the technology cannot do everything. Last thing is that it's difficult. I know it's something that will not happen. Milena asked me a vision. This is a vision, so it's not something that will happen to do tomorrow. But the vision that I have is that in the short term, no, mid, long term, this will be the only way to reach the goals that we have, the 2015 goals for food, the reduction of the usage of fertilizer, the climate change adaptation, and so on. So, yes, the middleman is now the shortest path to reach the goal, but we need to reach another level of technologies.
Thank you, Andrea. So it's time to move on, and I will present now, I'll introduce you some of the other organizers of the program. And this is Sandra Bayer-Gregersen and Natalia Zank from BRI, Camden BRI and Aarhus University. And they will introduce the next speakers.
Okay, so let's proceed with the presentations. I think we should do the order like it is on the flyer. So let's start with the digitalization and ecosystems. Klaus, can you please shortly present yourself and your presentation?
Yeah, okay, thank you. My chart is here. Can you? Can you see?
Yes, we can see it.
But it's not in presentation mode, is it?
No, we cannot see it in presentation mode.
Yeah.
Now?
Still not.
Okay, because now it's on my side.
A program about technologies where the technologies don't work.
Yeah, that's always.
No, maybe it's in the other screen. So you can show like a normal visualization, instead of the presentation, we can see it in your screen. If you use the first icon, normal, when you edit the slides, if you use this view, maybe we can see it. So. Either you, okay, yeah, this is okay.
Okay,
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. Yeah, okay, thank you for the presentation. And yes, Claus Sørensen from Electrical and Computer Engineering here at Aarhus University, heading a research group on operations management. Been working for many years with the optimization and of agricultural technology, and of course also for many years we're connecting that with information technology. Let's see, like Andrea was talking about, there is a great promise for, or you hold a great promise from digitization of agriculture, and I have tried to outline how a farm, for example, in 2035 would look like. And this 35 is chosen because there are actually some validated prognosis that say that, for example, we will have 4 million data points per average farm at that point. So that says something about the amount of data we must handle. We will have to work in combination with robots and other things, but these data will give a very detailed picture of the conditions on the farm, and they have to be processed and used as decision support, either direct control or as a decision support for the farmer. These data can not only be used for the daily management of the farm, but they can also be used to build a digital twin of the farm. So the farmer or his advisor can make simulations and try out new things without going into the field. So that's what we expect to be looking into. In terms of the technology itself, we will have to look at, there are some problems with the adoption, but that's another thing. And of course, the same thing goes if you go outside the farm and you look at the whole supply chain. All the stakeholders will be connected to data exchange, etc. And you will have not only that you collect data and then you process data, but you will also have it online. So you will have dynamic operations data that change all the time. But in order to make this vision come true, there are some technical issues still. There are interoperability of the data, which when you have certain different technical equipment, they cannot talk together in terms of data exchange, etc. But there are also there are some technical issues, but there are also some human issues, like Andrea was talking about. We need a change of mind. For example, there was a study in Germany where they asked, I think, 500 farmers, where did they see the benefit of digitization? And the interesting thing was that the main issue, the main point for them was to optimize existing systems. So you could optimize traditional farming systems using digitization. But they did not so much talk about completely redesigning the systems. And so I will show later, that would be where the real benefit would lie. Of course, they are also asking for cost benefit. They require precise calculation of the benefit of these technologies. They needed to be more user friendly, of course, in many times, in many cases. Again, we have many data, but maybe we don't have so much information. Also, data ownership and things like that were key points. But the most important was they saw it as a optimization system of existing systems, and that's, I think, that's where we have a problem, because there is another study here where you could see that if you optimize current systems, then you, for example, will get a benefit in climate impact. That's the first bar here. If you then replace some of the technologies, for example, you replace a traditional tractor with an electric robot, okay, then you will get a further benefit in, for example, CO2 emission. But the real thing would be if you completely redesign the process using digitization, robots, etc. That's where you really could get some benefits in terms of, for example, climate impacts and other issues. So what we are talking about is here that we have to understand technology in a new way in the era of digitization. Many times in earlier transformations of agriculture, for example, the mechanization, okay, you replace the tractor with the horse, all the way around, replace the horse with the tractor. So you put just one item as a new item in the production system. But this digitization does not work in that way. There is no one size fits all. And they are not, these technologies are not passive. They are part of the whole production system or the supply chain. So it sometimes completely changes the way the production or the work processes is being carried out. And that's where also, again, we need really much the human in that part. So you need really to build up an ecosystem around digitization in order to have it to work. And of course, there are different EU initiatives, for example, digital innovation hubs and other competency centers that try to do that. But really, digitization is a new kind of technology where we shift from technology items to talk about systems. So we have a system transition. Also, we have to be aware that maybe we should use, for example, precision farming in new ways. Precision farming up until now has very much been used to standardize processes, to standardize, to make processes very efficient on the farm. But it could also be used to making farms more diverse, because using all these data, you can find out, okay, in that part of the field, you should grow crops. In the other part, you should, for example, set aside for biodiversity, etc. Just to say again, we need to rethink many of the things. Just one closing statement. It is more important to understand how the technology works in a production or supply chain than the actual precise functionality of the technology itself. And that is something that has broader implications, because, for example, also the education of farmers and others working in this industry, they need to understand the domain more than they used to. They cannot just function, not just focus on the technology. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we heard some very useful insights, and now let's proceed with the next one. If you have somebody any questions, yeah, you can ask here or in the chat. If not, okay, then no questions. Then I think, yeah, let's proceed with the next presentation. So the next one is Hajnalka Ledóné Darázsi from Délkertész. Camden has a long time collaboration with Délkertész, and Hajnalka is expert advisor there, who supported the consortium with these digital precision techniques, which are used in greenhouses. So now let's hear from her.
Okay, thank you. I search my presentation. Sorry. I lost thing. Okay, I am confused with my screens totally. No, again. No. I tried to open it in a full screen, but of course it's not possible.
Yeah, just take your time.
Okay. Can you hear me anyway?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Ah, sorry. Again. Yes. Share. Yes, can you see anything?
Yes, we can see the presentation now. It's not in presentation mode, but I think
Yes.
everybody can see it like this. Yeah.
Nothing. Okay. So greetings for everybody. So as Natalia said, I am an advisor working for a producer organization in south part of Hungary in horticulture sector. Our topic is implementation possibility of the precision techniques for greenhouses. You could see the parts of the of our project, which started with a workshop organized for member growers of producer organization, and then it was a mentoring period during the summertime, then a second workshop, and we are now. Very shortly about the first workshop. The main topic was organized around the management of challenges arising in vegetable growing under greenhouses. For instance, there were some presentations about precision tools which could be used in low-tech greenhouses. And the second one about controls, climate control, irrigation, and not nutrient control in high-tech greenhouses. Up-to-date technical solution was another topic. And during this day, there was a possibility to visit two farmers who deals with sweet pepper production, and the growers could check their knowledge in the practice as well. Some words about the main attributes of SMASH mentoring program. At the end, we involved some growers. We tried to choose growers who represent the medium level of the medium growing level of the producer organization members, and then we screened their growing facilities and technology. The next step was to suggest them precision monitoring tools to develop their technology. We had two partners from this sector, and then the mentors analyzed the offer of the partners by each growers. Then we present a kind of feasibility study concerning this project during the second workshop for the producer organization growers. What are the main challenges of implementation on precision monitoring tools in low-tech greenhouses? We can say that during our members' greenhouses surface quite small, placing different places. The type of the tunnels usually not up-to-date structure. That's why the automatization of that kind of structure is quite limited. The grower themselves, elderly grower, and nowadays the availability of labor work less and less. So the general motivation in development in technology less and less. We can say that the technical level of the greenhouses here are very heterogeneous. So that's why quite difficult to offer uniform development solution them. And in this structure, majority of the growers work in so-called second job in that territory, that greenhouses. During the mentoring program, we chose 5 places, 5 growers who could represent or members' facilities. You could see some traits as the structure could be tunnel or block, could be the production heated or unheated itself. The production could be done on the soil or soilless way, using different substrates. The common things was during the growers that what happened? What can you see?
We
So
can see
slide
this.
number 6.
Okay, because I lost my. Okay, back. No. I touched something in my pad, and no.
We can see your slide.
Yes, but I not. It's a problem. But I can go. Okay, it was the 6th.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I'm very sorry.
Take your time, you know.
Okay, I try. No.
Perfect. Now we see the full screen.
Full screen.
Full screen we see. Yes.
Yes, we can see the full screen now.
Okay.
Now, okay. Okay.
It went further.
Yes.
Yes.
This is Plantacom, the
It's
precision
nice.
monitoring.
Nice. Oh, something happened. Yes, but not now. But I can see this is the slide about Plantacum. Can you
Yes.
see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that was my last sentence about I don't remember. Okay. So we asked the two partners to offer precision tools for my growers. The first offer was Plantacum brand, which is a very, I can say, a very simple system and specially developed for low-tech greenhouses. The main consists of some sensor, as air sensor, substrate sensor, can have the smart ventilation control too, and the main part of the system is the so-called quilt plant scale, which is able to measure the weight both the substrate and some plants, and a rainwater collector can join to it, and there is a measurement, an EC measurement, which is the electric conductivity, and refer to the nutrient content of the water irrigated. And the data transfer is Wi-Fi based, and it is a grower friendly smart usage. I am not able to go further. What to do? I could share again, maybe. Nothing.
Esetleg a nyilakkal hajnalka ott a billentyűzeten, a bal.
Azon próbálom, sorry. Most próbálom megnyitogatni, vagy...
Okay, the next one. Yeah.
Next one. I present a graphic about the scale, but the grower could notice in your smartphone, for instance. Here we can see by day the number of the watering, the irrigation, and for instance the weight, the plant weight, beginning of the day and at the end of the day and the next day. Why it's important? It's important because the grower could decide whether the previous day watering irrigation was efficient for the plants or not. It's very shortly I can say that. Okay, next. The next firm was the brand was so-called Folia Vezérlés in Hungary. There are some differences between the two system. The main differences is in this case measuring the soil medium or substrate moisture, which is you can see here the sensor itself, and the difference is it has a so-called measurement of plant surface humidity, has a meteorological station, and the data transfer way is different too. So we decided to offer for our growers both possibility to try. During the mentor program, the mentors calculated some advantages of these tools. For instance, technology advantages for climate control, which could be, of course, more stable. Concerning irrigation, as we have seen, the dynamic of the water usage refer to the transpiration of the plant. It's a very good help for the grower to decide what to do the next days. And it is possible to spare some nutrient as well during the technology. We calculated some economical advantages using that kind of precision tools because our growers work in a so-called open production soilless culture mainly. It means in the case of pepper, about 10 to 40% of the whole water, irrigation water could be as a drain water, which in low-tech greenhouses, of course, and with the help of these tools, it can decrease by 5 to 20%. The water used can decrease, of course, and the consequence is the annual nutrient can decrease by 5–10%. Additional advantages, the humidity control, which could support integrated biological plant health control as well. Summarizing the main effect and the main advantages of this program, precision tools can give for the grower hands a wide range of various and valuable information, and these tools must be used as continuously, and to our opinion, growers can time to time analyze the data, the information together with advisors, and to find the tendencies, and to use these tendencies as experiences for their next season. To our opinion, that these tools can be profitable investment, and at the end we can say that with the help of SMASCH mentoring program, we could catalyze the precision tools, using precision tools among the producer organizations members, increasing the production level. Thank you for your attention. Can you hear me? Okay. Yes. Any question, please?
No, I cannot see any question at the moment in the chat. And thank you very much for the presentation.
Okay, you're welcome.
And then,
So, no, you have a question.
Yeah.
So do you think also in this case, you need a technician available to help the implementation of this precision technology? Or they can rely on people that sell the technology to the farmer?
You mean technician, a person?
Do you think you still need technician in the middle, like for precision agriculture, to help the development of this technology at farm level?
Yes, I suppose in this case we will solve this task as advisors, because the producer organization has an own advisor system. It means we are 10 persons. Among them, about 3–4 people could work in this field and can help the usage of that kind of tools. And we are a close partnership with the firms. I mean, who offered the different brands. And we ask them to help us as advisors, and and the grower as well. And at the end, we started 2 pilot programs for our growers, because the producer organizations have the possibility to organize programs in operative program supported by the European Community, and we started 2 pilot program where we want to teach the other growers how to use that kind of tools. Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you a lot again for the presentation, and thank you, Remigio, for the question. Then we'll go to the next speaker, Sarah.
Hi, yes, I'm here. I cannot share my screen.
I think you need to unshare first before the next speaker can share.
Okay.
I stopped the sharing, then hopefully you can.
Yes, let me try it. Okay. Now, can you see it on full screen?
We can see it both the screen and in presentation mode.
Presentation mode. Okay, so.
No, we can see it in presentation mode. It was perfectly fine.
Don't worry. No, I can't. I try again. Okay. No?
Yes, we can see it again.
Okay. Okay, well, it's a pleasure to be here today on behalf of my company, Grupo AN. So, well, I know that we don't have too much time, so I'll try to be quick. But, well, first of all, I would like to start explaining a little bit about who we are, so you can have a better understanding about the needs of our farmers. So, well, Grupo AN was created in 1910 as a small agri-food cooperatives, and today is a reference in cooperativism. So, well, to sum up, what is Grupo AN? Well, Grupo AN is a group of agri-food cooperatives. We are formed by 160 associated cooperatives, and we have a network of more than 40,000 farmers and livestock owners. The whole organization is focused on the services to our farmers and these livestock owners in order to promote their production, because the farmers are the owners of the cooperatives. And as a cooperative, we have strong values, we take care of the environment, we take our commitments seriously, we generate employment in rural areas, and so on. So mainly, we have 2 lines of activity. On the one hand, we sell, and on the other hand, we buy. We act as a central sales agency with the production of our farmers. This means that our farmers produce the cereal or the fruits or the poultry, and we sell their production in the market for them. This way, they only have to worry about their production, and we take care of the commercialization. And on the other hand, we act as a central purchasing agency with whatever they need. For instance, the seeds, the fertilizers, the insurance. What we do is we buy large amounts of these products. So this way we can obtain much better prices than if our farmers buy these products on their own. So really quickly, I would like to talk about the 3 areas of activity that are our main activities. In cereal, we are the largest cereal producer cooperative in Spain, and as our farmers own the land, we are able to trace their products from their origin. In fruit and vegetables, the second area, we are also a reference. We are the largest fruit and vegetable cooperative in Spain and the biggest exporter of fresh products. But apart from selling the fresh product, we also have a network of processing companies. For instance, we have an industry of vegetables preserves that prepares canned products that can be consumed all year round. And another example, we have another industry of fourth and fifth range products that have salads, veggie burgers, vegetable sauces. So this way we can obtain much better value for the production of our farmers. And our third main area is meat. We are the fourth largest operator in the Spanish poultry market, and we have the closed circle from the field, from the farms, sorry, in this case, we have the incubators, we have the slaughterhouses, we cover all the chain till the final product. And finally, I would like to mention the foundation. This is where we manage all the innovation of the whole group. As you can see, this is a really diversified company. So yeah, now that you have a better understanding about how we work, I would like to talk a little bit about what we have done in the framework of this program. So in June, we held a successful workshop with more than 50 attendees, and we explained to them a solution that we really believe that could help their meet their needs. So after doing a market study about digital solutions in the market, we find a tool that could help them to digitalize their field notebooks. The field notebook is a record of all the agricultural activities. In case you don't know about this, the farmers by law must record all their activities. For instance, they keep track of the fertilizer applications, the sowing dates, the varieties of their crops, but it's sad to say that today still there are many people that still keep this record of information in paper. So the access of this information in case of need is quite slow and is more complicated. So this tool allows the farmers to record all this information from their smartphone in a way that is immediate and easy. This way we save time and we have better access to the information. During the second half of the workshop, we try to help them to communicate all this information with their accounting system. As you have seen in my presentation, our farmers don't work on their own. They are integrated in the cooperative system because the cooperative system gives them support and guarantees. So it's especially important to have a good connection with the whole value chain. There are other tools in the market that could digitalize the field notebook, but this tool is the only one that we find that could be integrated into the accounting system of their cooperatives. So this is important. So although the event was really successful and it raised the interest of a lot of the farmers, from Grupo AENE, it has been important also to continue helping the farmers afterwards. And so for this reason, we continue working with them, giving them training and solving their doubts with the use of the tool. So, well, after this experience, there are several learnings that we would like to share with you. We have found some key points that are essential in order to overcome the barriers that prevents our farmers to adopt technology. And well, in this case, I think that some of the partners have already told about some of these issues before, but just to sum up a little bit, the first one that we find is quite obvious, but the technology must be easy to use and easy to understand. The second one is that the economic investment shouldn't be very high because we are in a sector where the economic benefits are not really high. So it must be a balance between what we pay and what we can obtain. The third one that for me, even when it's in the third position, for me is the most important one. It's essential to have support and a training system for the use of the tools. I mean, a first explanation is not enough. they must have continuous support and assistance, because their activity cannot be stopped for not being able to understand a tool. And of course, they need trust in the technology, because we know that a paper is not going to fail, but we don't know about technology. So giving them support and assistance is, for me, the most important one. There are other points, for instance, language. Of course, there are many other technological solutions in the market, but most of them are in English. So in the primary sector, it's quite important to be adapted to the local language. And the final one is the smartphone. And with this, I mean that there are many solutions that are adapted to a computer. But if they must record the data in paper and go home and introduce all this data in the computer, they lose time and they lose also information. So it's important that all these tools become more and more important to have access from a smartphone. So, well, yes, that's what I want to tell you today. I hope that you find it interesting and you have our email address in case you have any questions.
Thank you very much. And sorry, but I had some technical difficulties. That's why I left for some minutes. And yeah, now let's proceed with the last presentation. Yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask, sure. If not, then let's proceed with.
I have one question, a little one,
yeah.
for Sarah. So basically, you mentioned this integration with your accounting system. So you need a tool that actually will be integrated for some of the operations, some of the data within your accounting system. Okay.
Yes, well, yes, with the accounting system of the cooperatives, yeah.
Yes, or the cooperative. Okay. It's an interesting point as well. So thank you.
Yes, because if, for instance, if they buy one product, they can have the invoice at the moment and we don't lose the track of all the products that they are using. So this is why it's so really important.
Thank you.
Yeah, if nobody has more questions, then let's proceed with Dionysus.
That's me. Okay, just a minute. Okay, we have a technical issue regarding let me share the presentation. I think you can see that now.
There is noise. Maybe there is another microphone open in your place, Mike Dionysus.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You're right. We try to solve this issue.
Okay. Now it's okay.
Now it's okay.
Yeah. Kind of.
Kind of. Okay.
Still not. Still not.
I leave the meeting. Just a minute. We solved the issue, but it was a Spartian, let's say, solution anyway. Okay, yes, I think that's the last talk. It's about big data analytics and what's the special case here in agriculture. Okay, my name is Dionysus Boktis. I'm director in the Institute of Agri-Technology in SERF in Greece and also senior scientist here in Orkus University and founder of this SME Farm Digital Agriculture. Now, I think today I'm talking using the last affiliation of the three. But it's the same person. Okay, I have put this very ugly picture here just to show you what is really the problem that precision agriculture remained for more than, let's say, 25 years like a concept, not as a real practice. Because between us, we have to admit that precision agriculture has never implemented in the large, let's say, quantity of farmers, so on. So the problem is that, for example, if you would like to have a barrel rate application, you need sampling mission for a drone, so you need another software to make, to the routing, another software to make the data handling, the data analysis, another software. If we have data for satellite images or sensors from the ground, we need another software to make the data fusion. Another software for the routing of the machinery to transmit the data to the machine. And if we are very lucky and we have a software, we have the evaluation of the system. So actually, in this simple example, we need 9 different brand names of softwares in order to make this thing that we call precision agriculture. Of course, that was the case just before this agriculture 4.0. And the reason is now, what says now, the flow of the data between the different systems. This is exactly what represents this company, which is a spin-off company of CERT. What we built here, it is a cloud service, a cloud system that has 8 different modules for 8 different categories of applications in the field, and has connected everything together and makes a complete interoperable system. And this is the key word here. It is interoperability that changes the whole story and make it possible anymore for the precision agriculture to be a reality, not just a nice, beautiful concept and a scientific topic for projects all that years. Let me give you an example that we have a prototyping example, but it's a little bit, I presented you this one. It's not the main functions of what we are doing there, but it's a nice example to show the interoperability. Here, for example, we can generate the routing for a drone. We can take automatically the data for the drone and apply machine learning technologies on the images and so on, and generate the locations, the centroids, the canopy, and so on of the trees in an orchard. We can transmit, and within the system, we can use other machine learning algorithms that generate the tracks, the field of tracks for a robot or for a tractor within the field. Within the same system, we can generate the route for the robot or the tractor to go inside the field. We receive back all the information for the robot inside the field, for example, about the awareness, and we have a beautiful and useful information to come back to send it back to our system. And in real time, all these things for machine learning of disease detection come to our systems. Everything is georeferenced. We generate automatically all zones for the field, all specific dots that has to be sprayed. And more on that, the system provides also the routing for the spraying drone to go and apply the agrochemicals to spots on the field. So not to cover the whole field, but a specific allocation. Okay, this is the idea. It's not something new. It is the concept of precision agriculture, but actually what is new here is that interoperability allows us to build such systems. But now from interoperability, we have this free flow of data. So the data, they are in the form that can move here and there. So we can direct the data to go somewhere that we would like to go. And this is the reason that the big data are generated. It is this interoperability that in agriculture that allows the generation of big data. And here, big data, it is not something else, but the fuels for AI. Now, this is the good things. I will talk to you rest of my talk for the bad things about this stuff. Okay, I'm not finished with the good things. Take a look at this picture. This is actually how this shows how much agriculture absorb and implement technologies. It is not that agriculture is something special compared to industry, but there is also the main reason for that is the shortage of labor and so on. But this is another story. We can discuss that some other time. Actually, what it shows here, it shows that the main reason for the last years, especially for the last 20 years, that we have this annual growth of the productivity in agricultural sector is this factor we call total factor productivity. And what is this? It is a factor that entails all the technological means that used in one system. And agriculture, for some specific reason, it has a higher absorption, higher contribution of TFP in his growing compared to any other industry. There are explanations for that, but it's not the topic for today. Now, let me, since we talk about big data is the fuel for the artificial intelligence systems to build applications. We made two reviews, one in 2018 and one second one after 3 years. You can see that the topics are more or less the same, the contribution of the papers, of the scientific papers, and we're talking now just only for journal papers in good journals. The contributions, they say, what is very impressive here, it is that within 3 years, we have an increasement of 750% of research works on the machine learning, artificial intelligence, agriculture, and so on. If you ask me if this is a good or a bad thing, it's definitely a very, very bad thing. This for me shows an degradation of science in this area. What happened now? Everybody can take some thousands, some millions of photos, make a training on algorithms. Okay, say some results, 90% we find that's perfect. That's perfect. But the problem is that who cares? Farmer does not care if to go to see a leaf in the field with a mobile phone and recognize that this is a disease. He can do that by himself. He does not need there any artificial intelligence or any machine learning. It's not the scope of big data and machine learning to do such kind of things. So for my first point is that we have this, let's say, research degradation, scientific degradation. And here is the allocation of the works, but this is irrelevant. The second thing is that we have to notice here is how it is distributed. This is another other work we did. How it is distributed the labor in agriculture, actually the occupations and the tasks in agricultural operation and so on, agricultural production in the space of cognitive tasks and manual tasks, routine and non-routine. Of course, as we expect, the majority of that it is of manual routine. What is the case now with this big data stuff and artificial intelligence? Now it is not only at risk the manual repetitive work that we know from industry or from some robotics, but also the cognitive and not routine ones. Meaning that the first, if this will be true in the future, this, let's say, middle skilled works like the agricultural consultant or agronomist or all this stuff around agricultural jobs will also disappear, and they are in a higher risk than jobs just like a pure labor and manual job of selecting a fruit in the tree, because this is a matter of cost. I mean, it is, if you have a lot of laborers, you don't have to put any robot. But if it is completely cheap to replace a high-skilled worker, then you can do that. You will do that, actually. The second problem here has to do with the farmer. Now, we have built hundreds of new technologies, hundreds of new systems of farm management, information systems of system traction, and so on, in this new digital reality in farming. But actually, here is a problem. We try to sell something actually to the farmer where we don't know the maintenance cost. It's not like a tractor. The tractor, it has 100 years history. When you buy a tractor now, you know exactly how many years you will use it. You have all the economic life. You can make a very good assessment. Here in these digital technologies, we cannot do that. We don't know even the economic life. We don't know how much does cost the maintenance. For example, if Google someday comes and double the cost of the servers and everything, and then what we'll say to the farmer, pay double. It's very difficult. And of course, the most difficult thing is we failed at the moment as scientists and academics and business people to convince farmer about the added value of these systems. Actually, it is not the failure is not that we cannot explain to them. Actually, it is difficult for us also to understand what is the added value for a farmer. We know that the government will be gained. We know that big organization will be gain a lot. We know that the chain, the retailers, and the wholesalers in the system will gain, but it is very questionable if the farmer at the end will gain something. We're not clear about that, and we are not honest against the farmer at the moment. This is my impression. So let's go in the last thing that will happen, because this is the nature of AI. This is the nature of data. This is the nature of information. This here has to do with physics. Information is the opposite of the entropy. Entropy is the order. So information is in favor of bigger organization. As to do that very simple, the more information you grab together, the bigger the system is. It's like a black hole. I will not explain that more, but what will happen here in the business landscape, it is that when we move to more information systems, we will have the disappearance of this medium businesses. So we'll have some large entities that have that own the information, and we have some small entities that make proceed with these residual tasks, as we say. So just to conclude, of course, we have a research challenge here. We have a lot of work to do. There are a lot of opportunities, investment opportunities. There are a lot of business opportunities here. But on the other hand, we have some threats here, which is the scientific degradation, as I say, the job polarization, the business polarization, and this question, what is finally the added value for the farmer? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions? No.
So Dionysus, you believe, advisors disappear, are the first one to disappear?
What will, who will disappear?
The advisor, I mean, the people in the middle between farmer and technology.
This happened.
They're the one at risk, let's say.
This happened also in industry. For example, accountants are the first that disappear because they are now the softwares. An accounting person before 100 years was the most valuable work.
Yes.
Now they're softwares. I mean, if there are all these systems from a satellite, you can recognize the disease. You can make a scheduling for the machine, where to spray, when to spray, and everything. And you have all this information back to the systems and so on. So the advisor, what's the, okay, this is the worst case scenario. Okay, nobody of us would like to see
but
that.
it's an interesting view.
Yes,
it's an interesting view.
Yes, of course, like doctors. Doctors are at high risk from, I mean, the doctor that makes the diagnosis. These systems now, I don't remember the name, makes 100% more accurate diagnosis for cancer compared to a doctor. That because we fuel these systems with the mind of doctors around the world, not just from 1, 2, 3, 4 or thousands of doctors. So this will happen also in agriculture. The question is, where is farmer, not the advisor.
Where is farmer? Okay.
Yeah.
So you say a small farmer will not be able to stay within technology.
No, no,
be-
no, no.
They will
no,
not benefit that much, let's say.
What I'm saying is that the problem is that because we fail to to attract the farmers to do that, they will be forced to do that by the agri chain, from the chain. For other links of the chain, they will be forced to use these technologies. Otherwise, they cannot sell their produce or something. This is the problem. It's better to be prepared somewhere and be part of this for a farmer compared to somebody else come and forced to do that. This is a bad thing here. Because it's one way. Everybody talks about Green Deal and everything. If you did not manage to receive the information from the ISOBUS system of the tractor, how much agrochemicals were put in and where in the fields, there's no value in any other information. So all the farmers will need in the future to have tractor with ISOBUS system and certified system, and with secure system that can transmit all this information to the cell of the supermarket. This is the story.
Thank you. Interesting. Thank you.
Okay, then thank you everybody for joining us today, and especially I'm thanking for the presenters. I hope you found this useful. I hope you learned new things, and I hope that this project will bring digitalization one step closer to agriculture, because from your presentation, I also see that these technologies exist, but it's really difficult to implement it and get the people use it. And yeah, I don't know, Sandra, maybe you have.
I can, if it's possible, I would like to add,
Yeah, sure.
a remark. It's a very basic remark, but the difference between this technology and fertilizer or chemicals, that chemical and fertilizer have the knowledge incorporated. So you spread them and you are fine. They will work for you. This item is still not so automatic, so you need to be able to use it. And even as we have some projects on skills, the most requested skills by farmer and agri-food is still everyday use of technology, everyday use of digital technology. So they don't know, not about only, precision agriculture. They don't know about how to use a computer, every day. They barely use email, and stuff like this. But they're digital, say, signing of documents, which are very basic stuff. No, farmers still they don't know.
Yeah. We also see this problem here. Yeah. Anybody has any remarks or questions or comments?
I can have a final comment from us at Department of Food Science in Aarhus, from me and Milena. I would like to thank you all for being here today, and to all of you who made this program possible. And I also hope you'll learn both something today and during the whole program. And then we'll keep you updated on potential activities in 23.
Thank you, Sandra. And also from my side, thank you, everyone. And sorry for not being with you.
Yes, well, thanks to you for all the hard work and coordination.
Thank you. Ciao,
Thank you.
Adrian.
Thank you.
Ciao,
Bye.
Adrian.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
It was very
Bye-bye.
interesting.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Ciao.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Ciao, Klaus. Dionysus.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.